Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Astrological Intentions. I am your host, along with the Grecian geeker herself.
the meat and Greeker.
It is episode 309, week of June 24th. Let's get right into it. In the transits, we start off with June 26th, Wednesday, Mercury sextile Saturn.
Common sense.
And June 28th, Friday, Venus sextile Mars.
Gentle yet strong soul.
Same day, Saturn stations retrograde.
Slow to a standstill.
And Mercury sextile Uranus.
Be alert. Be on alert.
Then in Talisman times, we have some upcoming talismans for you. On the horizon, we have a new astrology webinar. And in our house, we are remembering my grandmother who passed, Mildred. So stay tuned for this episode of Astrological Intentions.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you does.
Hello, Grecian geeker. I want to say like Grecian Greeker, but that doesn't make sense.
Actually makes more sense.
No, because you're
Why?
geeking out about this retreat, and so am I.
Oh, but yet we're just setting up our meet and greet.
Right.
So we still have one space left. So our meet and greet is coming up in July for all the people that are signed up. We have a large group. We have the same amount of group going last year. If we get one more person, we'll have an even bigger group by one person.
Right.
Yeah. And so we're setting all that up. And our meet and greet for all of our retreats, you do a beautiful slide presentation of getting people like, this is what it looks like. This is where you're going. There are quite a few surprises that you don't put up on the videos.
We keep those
close to our hearts.
Yes.
And then we peel them off one at a time.
Yep.
But it's a great time to meet other participants and to see who all's going and answer any questions.
And one of our favorite things is just to prepare everyone to get, pack the right things, have everything prepared, like flights, and like be prepared for all that they need. For the journey ahead.
But mostly the packing list is not what not to pack.
Right.
Like you don't need 3 suitcases.
Well, and we'll chat more about that later.
I know, but can I tell one thing?
Sure.
So because after that is the Egypt retreat, right? So I'm thinking, well, I am doing something really crazy, because I'm like, oh, what am I going to pack that I can wear multiple ways, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm putting on clothes, like upside down things. Like a dress I put on upside down, thinking I could wear it two different, like it looks like I'm wearing 2 different outfits, 2 different dresses when I'm really bringing one dress. And I think it's going to work.
We'll see about that. Okay. Sounds interesting.
You are not the judge.
Okay. Yes. So I want to go direct to all of you listeners and say thank you so much for all your feedback. I'm going to continue from last week, the rapid fire. And these are just these headlines that we ask people when they're giving their feedback, whether it's a reading or a personal talisman or a workshop that they've completed with us. I ask them for their headline. So here are some of the headlines. Inspiration, hope, and self-knowledge. Deeper understanding of myself. Insightful. Incredibly transformational and powerful. Tapping into that deep sense of knowing and intuition, feeling guided and held the entire time. Fresh life path guidance. Cascading goosebumps. More than incredible. It's happening. So those are just some of those headlines. And don't forget that these messages, they really do light us up. It is sharing that positivity, sharing that optimism, and we are all here for it. So if you do have a little bit of feedback that you haven't shared with us yet, please email me, alex@intentionbeads.com, or also add that to wherever you listen to the podcast, throw in a review.
Well, I doubt you'll get the one for next. Well, you might get it. The reading I just did earlier, like like chills, right? When I was looking at North Node, South Node and making some comments, and she was getting an understanding of some things that are going on in her life because of what I said, right?
Oh, awesome.
So now she wants to dive into it further.
Perfect.
Yeah. So
yeah,
it's
a cool journey to go
like,
on.
About why don't I feel like being a mother, right? I didn't know she felt that way, but when I mentioned something, she's like, "Oh my God, is that why I don't want to be a mother?" It's like, maybe. So I'm sending her on to a past life regressionist. So we'll see.
Yes. So let's move into the transits. We have June 26th, Wednesday. We start off with our first astrology transit,
Yep.
Mercury sextile Saturn.
Common sense, right? This is Mercury and Saturn. Mercury is the, planner, and Saturn is the long planner. And so they're both in water, right? And this is like making careful plans that gets to execute. Yeah. Execute them, because Saturn is slowed here because he's about to retrograde in a couple days. But this is a good time to like arrange it, rearrange it, put it into different patterns that Mercury likes to do, because the trine says, I'm with you. Saturn here is like, I'm with you. Let's lock this in, which reminds me of some of that when I'm visiting my mom, which I'm going to visit her in a couple weeks we're going to play more games on the television when they go, lock that in. Right? That's what this reminds me of.
Oh, like a game show that you watch. The
game shows that we watch is like, so ask your gut here, right? It's in water. So ask your gut, is this a good plan for me to see long-term?
So lock it in.
Lock it in.
Got it.
That's our final answer. Let's see, what else can we say? Right.
And so June 28th, we have 3 transits. That's on Friday. And the first on Friday is Venus sextile Mars. Tell us about that.
So Mars is in slow, muddy Taurus, right? But Venus is making an aspect to her sign via Mars. So there's reception here. So it's a gentle yet strong soul. Like it's an easy yet fit, right? It's and if it's not fit and if it's not easy, then work on it. This is an opportunity to say, this is the masculine and feminine energies coming together that say, let's take an opportunity to work on something together. Whether it's a relationship, whether that's within yourself. It's like Venus asks and Mars goes out and proceeds to get it, takes the action for it. So
it also kind of reminds me of like a single parent, where you have to be the role model, both the feminine and the masculine for your child. And you have to kind of explore those different realms of those more gender.
The Venus in Cancer is the more, preparing meals, sitting with them, hugging them,
nurturing.
Yeah. Like listening to them, putting them to bed, making sure that you're listening to their stories. It's calm, right? It's the gentle part.
Right.
And then Mars has in the Taurus has more patience there, right? It's like, no, let's pick up the toys. We're going to get ready for school. But with Venus saying, but this will be good. I love you. This will be fun. Let's get into the car quickly. Right. So it's kind of like you can work on something if it's not adjusting right, if it's not ease.
Yeah. And the next transit on Friday is Saturn stationing retrograde at 19 degrees of Pisces.
Okay, let's sit here for a second because he is. Saturn is. So he's slow to a standstill because he is what appears to be turning around. He's at 19 degrees of Pisces, as you mentioned, and this happens around 2:00 in the afternoon. So from 19, he's backing up all the way. 19, 18, 17, 16, 15, 14, 13, 12. 12. At 12, when he gets to 12, November 14th, he will then slow to a standstill again and start moving direct. But this period of time between now, Friday, June 28th and this mid-November, November 14th, is this time that we feel that we need to, our E words, right? The re. Now, Erin Sullivan, bless her soul, she is the writer of the one book that, she wrote several books, but the one book all astrologers use is the Retrograde Planets book that she wrote.
Mm-hmm.
And she writes about impending change or impending intensity. So if you feel this on Friday or you're feeling it now because it's the upcoming, it's applying to, he's already slowing down. But it's on Friday they stand still to turn around, right?
Mm-hmm.
So often this can be an eventful psychological intensity. So something might occur where it's either like, wow, like I never understood that, or I didn't understand that, or that's what I got to work on, or because the sun here begins to dominate the planet, because we're going to start seeing that sun is going to overtake the Saturn. So, I also look at, I like to go backwards and I like to see, what were some of the sun's aspects? Because sun is our personality, it's our ego, it's our vitality, it's how we, shine in our
world.
Lives,
mm-hmm.
right? And sun was square Saturn on June 9th. So, that was not too long ago that we got this square. And then he'll go retrograde today, on the 28th. So we're watching what was hard now can turn into what do we need to prepare for? What do we need to stabilize? We can go backwards and redo maybe something that came up June 9th, right?
Okay.
What was that? I should be quick look at my calendar. And I will real quick, because that was right around the time, I'm on the wrong date. Oh, that was right around the time that some things I had planned were not going smoothly, right? And so does that mean now that I need to relook at those, reconsider those,
mm-hmm.
to see what was inconsistent there, what did I not see clearly? Because Saturn is in Pisces, right? So, we have to kind of put our own dividing line or boundary. Saturn likes boundaries.
Mm-hmm.
Pisces does not. So we have to draw our own line in the sand. But just like Pisces, the water will come and remove that line in the sand.
Right.
And so it's like a wishy-washy thing. So, what is this for you, right? She also writes that people's energies become inverted and become subversive, right? So we have to watch what we are undermining in our own lives, with our relationships, at our workplace, with our own responsibilities, right? So where do we keep that line? So let's not undermine or invert. We are going to go internal. It's what retrogrades do. But Saturn goes retrograde every year for 4 months. He's not a personal planet. He's a societal planet. So curious to see what's going to be happening in the world, in our society. When Saturn's retrograde, he's not at work. He's on a cigarette break. And a long cigarette. Maybe it's a spliff. Because he's out for so long, right? So,
right.
Do people slack a little bit here? Are things kind of taking a turn and slowing down? Let's hope in the war zone that's the truth. That's the case.
Mm-hmm.
That things start to calm down a little bit, because Saturn's not on his dutiful duty.
Right. So let's move on to the third transit of Friday, June 28th, Mercury sextile Uranus.
So I like this. This is Mercury and Uranus. They both have a synergetic blend. Mercury is the mind. He likes to use his brain and mental agility. And Uranus is the wow factor, right? It's the wild card.
Mm-hmm.
And so this can bring, inventiveness and new things, new ideas. And so really be alert, right? Be on the
It might just shock you.
right. Situations are promising if you can take them seriously.
Mm-hmm.
Rapid thoughts and unpredictable questions and answers,
Mm-hmm.
right? The Q&A thing. It's like, I have a question. Who do I ask?
Right.
Wait, this is funny. I just the other night, and you're going to laugh at me. I downloaded Every Scan. Have you heard of that app?
No.
This reminds me of this Mercury sextile. I mean, it costs money, but I'm only got it for a short amount of time. The Every Scan it's a camera, and I can click it to anything, and it'll tell me what it is.
Oh, interesting.
So I did that for that beautiful wood carving upstairs that I got from, I found it
From Bali?
Yeah. And it told me it's Shiva. I thought it was Shiva, and then told me all about everything. So really kind of cool. It's kind of like, oh, I don't know what that is. So let me snap a picture of it. And this Every Scan app says, oh, here's what it is. And here's where you can buy it. I'm like, I already have it. Right. Like something like that. But
Very
anyway,
cool.
That's
Very
kind of
cool.
reminds me of, I didn't know that there was such a thing out there.
It's probably very new, is my guess. Yes. So don't forget that you can follow along with these transits personally by downloading your natal chart. If you head over to our website, intentionbeads.com/chart, you can download yours. And for instance, Saturn stationing retrograde at 19 degrees of Pisces, check out to see if you have anything at 19 degrees of Pisces. So let's move on to talisman times, where we're going to discuss the upcoming talismans. And first is to be guided by intuition.
I create a path of fulfillment that is successful in all my connections and endeavors. My ethereal wisdom arrives. And there's a lot. There's the moon. These first two talismans on this day, or the only two on this day, have the moon making a square to Jupiter. And so from Jupiter's sign. So in other words, the moon is in Pisces, right? Who rules Pisces? Jupiter. Jupiter is over there in Gemini. And so this is really nice to have the moon making an aspect to its ruler, Jupiter. Right.
At the moment, yes.
On this time,
right.
At this date.
And then the second talisman that you mentioned is to find peace and healing through service and daily routine.
I easily align with my higher purpose when I embrace the nurturing energy of the moon. Again, moon is in Pisces. This is very healing, very nurturing. But this time, the square to the Jupiter, the moon is coming from the 6th house of health, of service, of routine, daily routine.
Yes. And then Friday, June 28th, there's another upcoming talisman to elevate and radiate good fortune.
Oh, this is Jupiter on Aldebaran. We don't get this but once every 12 years. This is a very special one. This would be a great one to pre-sale. This is rare. I mean, they're all rare. I can never get the exact, transit because it takes 26,000 years to get another exact chart. But this is Jupiter on Aldebaran. I claim victory and success in my large and noble projects. I dedicate myself to the big picture for the good of my culture and society. Right. Aldebaran is one of the royal fixed stars, the Persian stars, that guarantees success, victory, and good fortune when you stick to the proper rules, right? All the 4 royal Persian stars have a caveat. They all have a nemesis, right? And so this one is, you get riches and honor, but you have to stay in the pathway of moral deeds.
Right.
Yeah.
And kind of have a moral compass about it and righteousness.
Yeah, so that's a rare one.
All right. So the Talisman of the month, don't forget, is sold out this month. However, we will be announcing a new one next week. And we do have the Venus star point in Gemini Talisman still available. And those are linked in the description right next to Talismans. So let's move on to the horizon, where we have our July astrology forecast and cheat sheet ready and waiting for you to view. That is on our Patreon community page, as well as an upcoming on July 10th. We have an astrology webinar with Sandy and Susan talking about this Mars conjunct Uranus square Saturn. It's a lot, but it's basically it's Sandy's conflict transit of the month.
And maybe the year.
So Sandy and Susan are going to be really delving into this and giving more explanation of what this means on a personal level, but also on a societal level.
Yeah, this is Mars making a conjunction to Uranus. And this is, Mars is on the fixed star of Algol, right? This is like crises. This is what Susan was saying, about being dangerous. And this is the National Convention week, the National Convention. So really watching what's going on during that.
And being cautious.
Cantankerous. It seems conflicting.
Right.
So what we're going to do is talk about this on the 11th prior to this coming in. It comes in on the 15th. It's very strong on the 15th. But the 10th, you're right, the 10th. We talk about it on the 10th, but the actual scenario
comes in about 5 days later.
Okay.
Sounds great. So also don't forget that we have our 3 retreats coming up. The first is 1 seat left for the Greece retreat on Amargos Island, September 22nd through the 29th. 1 spot left. And then also our 2024 Egypt retreat, which is happening October 9th through the 19th. More than welcome to join. There still is availability. So join where you can float along the Nile.
I can't wait.
Float up into the sky on a hot air balloon.
And sleep in the desert
and then
one
sleep
night.
in the desert. It's going to be pretty absolutely
with the desert people.
Spectacular. Who are the desert people?
No, they're setting up our camp.
Oh, okay.
And of course, Matmut is their, they live in the desert, and they're called Badwans. I think they're called Badwans.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and they have this. They're setting up our camp. We'll each get our own tent, a sleeping tent. Then there'll be a bigger tent for our meal, because we'll have an evening meal and a breakfast meal. And then I just can't wait to see the stars.
Wow. Yeah, that'll be spectacular. And then also the third that I wanted to discuss is the Mexico retreat that's happening January 4th to the 11th with a special guest coming in to teach about human design, the basics.
Yeah, we just set this up. We've been chatting about it. Human design is like it slides off your tongue anymore, because so many people are hearing about, I just heard about human design. I don't know anything about it. So we are going into the basics for a week. I'm going to be doing the astrology basics, and then she's going to be adhering that to the human design basics. And wow, like we were just talking a little bit about that last week when you're like the fixer and the adventurer. What are you?
The cautionary adventurer.
Oh, yeah. And I'm the hermit optimist.
Something like that.
Yeah.
So that link for Mexico is coming soon. And remember, if you are interested in joining us for any of our retreats, there is a free 15-minute call with Sandy. Just click on that link in the description.
And the early bird is still available for the Mexico retreat.
Ooh, save $300.
Yeah.
All right, so let's move into our house, where giving some love, support, and remembrance to my grandmother, not your mother,
Mm-hmm.
but my father's mother, who passed just recently, Millie, also known as Mimi. And yeah, I just wanted to send out a beautiful message saying that she was 96 years old. She had 12 children. Then that expanded into 36 grandchildren, then 36 great grandchildren. And we also called her Super Mimi once she got to great grandma status. And yeah, 96 years old, passed away at her home with her family surrounding her. So it, it's a beautiful story. Yes, we will miss her. Yes, it's sad, and it's, it's hard to believe too, because she's been around for my whole life. And
she was stable. She was the established matriarch,
right,
of this massively large family, and growing.
Right, still growing.
Right.
And she was always such a bright light and always so
beautiful.
positive. And even in a wheelchair, she still,
had her makeup on and her hair done and her nails done. She always wore very elegant clothing and
beautiful bright colors. Yes. So,
wow,
Mimi, Millie, you are missed.
Hugely missed.
We wish you the best on this transition into the ethers. And yeah, so that all to say, we'll be heading to her funeral. And yeah, it's going to be a celebration of life. All the grandkids and the kids are going to have a pop of color in our attire. And so it's going to be a celebration of life, because if anyone makes it to 96 years old, you have your family all in good health and, good spirits around you. It's like, man, there really isn't anything more that you can ask for. That's pretty spectacular.
Right. And having 12 children that are not duplicates of any type, right?
Right. There's no twins or triplets.
They're all single births. And for them to be near her and support her and help her move, ascend.
Right. And that, it always rings so true. One of your friends mentioned when her mother was dying that, she's not caring for her mother until death. She's actually helping train her mother to be an angel.
She's preparing
her mother to be an angel.
She's preparing an angel for heaven.
And so
that gets me every time. That gets me every time.
Yeah. And it's a beautiful way to look at it too, because, we may not know for certain what happens after in life, but there is so much to be said about she will constantly be around, and her spirit is going to be vivacious and colorful. And get this, that same day that her funeral is the strawberry moon.
Right.
And her favorite color is like hot pink anything, pink, 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 pink. And just a very perfect synergy to send her off on her journey to the next journey. So anyway, I just wanted to inform everyone, all of you podcast listeners, and thank you for the condolences I've received so far. And, if you have lost a loved one, I send you my condolences too. And grief is a funny thing that, one day we're okay, and then the other day we're really sad. And then, it kind of goes into that cycle, but it's a part of it all. And
yeah. And, I was just alerted, 2 other family members on my side. I mean, cousins have left as well. It's just the solstice period that we're arriving to that, souls choose the easy passage of the equinoxes and the solstices. Right. Just really interesting how many people that I'm noticing. I'm just like, cognizant that leave around these times. My dad did. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
but the odd thing too is because I knew that, getting messages that they were calling everyone, all of the siblings back to Cincinnati, back to the home, get there, right? Get there as fast as you can if you're able.
Right.
Anyway, so I knew this was kind of happening, but I had pre-planned a talisman, right? You always hear that I write my talismans, days, weeks in advance. And on this day, Friday the 14th, I had a talisman to make at 1:22 p.m. And I want to just say it. When I finished this talisman, I then looked at my phone, right? Because I turned my phone off.
Right.
And I went to turn my phone back on. And the same time I was making this talisman, I get a message that she had passed. And so I want to read the intention and affirmation. It's like you can't make this stuff up, right? To be open-minded. I am on my journey of discovery. This just may take me away where I have never been before. Long distance travel is part of my education. So when I was repeating this, while I'm in a meditation, while I'm making this talisman, while I've got the incense burning, while I have the candles lit, all this is going on as she is ascending, right? And it's just kind of like opening everything opened for everybody at that time as she was leaving and moving into her soul spirit again, right? And then leaving what she no longer needed was her physical body, right?
Yeah. So a beautiful passage ahead, and yeah, I'm excited for the celebration of life and just to be in that remembrance of sharing stories and moments and having those, special memories. So much love to you all. And I will end here with this episode. And thank you all so much for listening to this podcast. It really is a labor of love for us. So don't forget to share with your friends. Send us your feedback, alex@intentionbeads.com. And we will talk to you all next week. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
I say go do you. Now travel far, share your stories and earn your scars. It's you. Say you are the one you will answer to when this life is done. Don't waste a minute, jump in the river. Wash yourself clean so you can deliver you. The story of you, the story of you. The story of you, the story of you.